This week we're going to kick things off with one of the more interesting models that I have found recently. This is a 2016 Porsche 911 GT3 from a brand called Sparky. And what makes this interesting is not necessarily the car, but it's the fact that this is a street car from the brand Sparky. Sparky is most well known for creating pretty good replicas of race cars. So this is a Porsche 911 RSR, which is a GTE car, and then they do like the Porsche 911 GT3 in a couple different variations. And they do a really great job on these race cars. And until finding this Porsche in the store, I had no idea that they even did street cars. So I thought this was pretty cool. And maybe these are super common and I just don't know where to look for them, but I thought it was pretty interesting and I was very excited to find it. So I'm going to get this thing off the base. And so this is a Sparky. So Sparkies don't have screws, which is very nice. You just twist this little tab and it comes right off, and you can put it back on if you want to, which is pretty handy. And so this is a pretty decent looking version of a Porsche 911 road car. So it is a Sparky, so it is a metal body. It has a plastic base, although this has quite a bit more detail on it than a lot of Sparkies would have. It has rubber tires, but in this case they are slick, so there's no tread on the tires. There are no brake calipers or discs in these wheels, but the wheels do turn. It seems like this one might actually roll, and it sort of rolls. It's a little rough. Technically it does roll, but this front wheel wants to kind of lift. Sparkies are a little hit and miss in the rolling department. I think the newer releases do seem to roll a little bit better than some of the older ones, but and it depends heavily on the casting. But this is not a bad looking model at all. It has lensed headlights and painted tail lights. And so a Sparky is not a super premium model. It is a what I would consider premium diecast. It is in the $10 to $15 range. I did pay a little bit more than that for this one. I think I paid $20 for this one, but I was fine with paying that because it is, for me anyways, it was a somewhat unusual model. You get some silver in the mirrors, but overall it's not a bad model and very cool to have a street car from Sparky. And we can do a quick comparison here between this is a Mini GT2 RS, so it's not exactly the same car, and then I'm sure they're different years, but we can just do a quick comparison, which is kind of an interesting thing. So yeah, Sparky seemed to do a pretty good job on this one. Maybe the paint's not perfect here, although the paint's got some issues in it, but I'm not a super picky guy about minor paint imperfections like that, but it's a small negative point on it. But overall, pretty cool model. So very happy to have that one from Sparky. Next up, this is another really cool looking model. This is from CM Model, and it's a McLaren P1 GTR. And this is definitely a super premium model. So we'll take a quick look around the package here, and then we'll get this out of the box. If I can. I had tried to get this out. Okay, it's going to just slide out now. Earlier, I had tried to get this out, and it did not want to come out of the package at all. But it apparently the prior attempt had stretched the package a little bit. So this thing looks to be really cool. So if you're familiar with the P1, you might know it from Hot Wheels, from something like this. As you can see, this CM model is on a whole different level from what you would get with the Hot Wheels. You have just a ton of detail. So this is a racing version of the car. So you get, and since this is a super premium release, you have the little details like the tow hook that would be used to by a crane to pick the car up, and you have a little antenna, which that would be very easy to break off. So hopefully I don't drop this model. But yeah, this is very cool. So this one, so the rear wheels do turn, front wheels, they do turn. If this rolls, it is not gonna roll well. Yeah, it doesn't really roll. That's not surprising to me for a CM model. I only have a couple of these, and they have typically not rolled very well. So you do have silver detail here in the mirrors, and just overall a very cool model of a very cool car, or what I think is a very cool car anyways. Not all McLarens are winners for me, but this one I do like quite a lot. It does look like there may be brake discs in there. It's hard to tell if there's calipers in there. There are discs though, but anyway, it's not super critical because you can barely see through those wheels anyways. But so 1/64th, made in China. Yeah, so this is a pretty cool, very cool model. And talking about McLarens and how some of them are hits and misses. This is the McLaren Senna from Mini GT, and for me, I think this car is absolutely hideous. I just do not get along with the with the look of it at all. But I think this one looks sweet. Love this one. All right, so next up, we're going to take a look at this Tiny. So this is a BMW 5 Series Hong Kong Police. So this is traffic police. So this is from Tiny, or what you would maybe call Tiny, or I usually call Tiny HK. You can also call it Tiny City. And this is a Hong Kong based brand, and they do a lot of Hong Kong specific vehicles. It's a very interesting brand to me, and I've shown their models a number of times in the past, and I found this one locally, and that was very exciting to me, because they're not the easiest things to get, because you do have to order them usually from outside of the country. But they're pretty cool models. They're not, I would consider them premium diecast. I definitely do not consider them super premium, but they're premium diecast that maintain a lot of toy qualities to them as well. They do have opening doors, and and they do a pretty good job with their moving parts. The door on this side has a little bit of a gap that's a little unfortunate, but this one doesn't look too bad. But they always open and close very well with a nice reassuring snap when they close. And they're pretty detailed. You have separate parts for the kidney grills here, and then the lensed headlights. This one does have painted tail lights. But overall, they're pretty cool models. I really enjoy collecting this brand. This particular one has plastic wheels, wheels and tires. Some of them have rubber tires, some of them do not. This one doesn't, but it's overall very cool. And these have suspension, and they always roll, and they always roll really well too. So if you want something that's rolls closer to Hot Wheels or something, a Tiny is definitely going to be in that category. I doubt it would win in a race against the Hot Wheels, but it will roll pretty well, which is pretty cool. So this is the second version of this this car that I have. I also have this one in a I believe this is actually Scottish police livery. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Same car, but yeah. Brand I am definitely a fan of. Next, another police vehicle from Greenlight in the Hot Pursuit series, the 2019 Dodge Durango from the New York City Police Department. NYPD livery is always a popular thing. So this was Hot Pursuit Series 40. That's what this was included in, and as is so common with Greenlights, we have smudged windows, which is a persistent problem with the brand. But this particular casting has lensed headlights, has pretty nice looking grille with some texture in there, which is cool. And this has painted taillights, but they do a really good job in painting these, so they look pretty good. They almost look like they're lensed. If you just glanced at them really quickly, you would be fooled. But a close look, they're obviously painted. But yeah, so I don't see any other major issues with this one other than the windows. The windows look awful on it, and it even rolls pretty well. But it's cool. Durango's not really my favorite vehicle in the world, but I do like police cars, obviously, and the NYPD logo or livery is always awesome. And so this is a good addition. Would be happier if it had decent looking windows in it, but it's a Greenlight, so you gotta take what you get with those. Next, from Auto World, and the camera's not going to cooperate today. We have a little flipper of a Dodge Stealth RT in peacock green, one of 14,478. So this car, I had bought a case of these, and this is how it came out of the case, upside down. But apparently this is going to be the loser out of this case, because I was in Target the other day, and they had 10 of these hanging on the pegs, which is crazy. So that means that they had gotten 10 of these cases, which I should have mentioned. The case that this came from is Premium Release 4, 2021 Premium Release 4. So they had gotten 10 of these cases, because there's only one of these cars in each case, and at least 10, I guess. And all of these Stealths were still hanging on the pegs. So apparently nobody wants this car. And I have to admit that I'm getting a little tired of seeing this car released as well. In reality, it's a cool car, but once you have a few different versions of it, if you're not a huge fan, it gets a little tiresome. This is a pretty cool looking version. The paint is just a gloss kind of bluish green, though. There's no metal flake or anything in it. Looks like it has a little bit of a tire issue here. So painted taillights, actually painted headlights on this one as well. So yeah, it's I don't know. It's a cool car, but like I said, Greenlight's put out, or not Greenlight, Auto World has put out too many of these recently, and I think people are getting tired of them. And actually, I think I've decided to stop buying Auto World cases because of too many repetitive cars that I'm not that interested in. And they have so many other castings that they could use, and they just don't. They keep putting the same ones out over and over. Next, from Tarmac Works, we have the Kyosho Agera RS in white. This is a very cool release from Tarmac Works. This is a Global64 release from Tarmac. So this is the kind of their mini GT competitor line, and it used to come in. They've changed the packaging on these now. This is the older style packaging that used to come in these clamshells, these resealable clamshells, which I'm very happy that they have changed the packaging, because these were big and bulky, but it's at least resealable. So this particular model does come with mirrors that you have to put on, and it definitely benefits from having the mirrors put on them. So I have it in yellow as well, and I put the mirrors on this one, and you can see that they play a very important role in the look of this car. So it definitely looks a lot better if you put the mirrors on. So if you get one of these, I highly recommend you do that. But it's a cool model. I like this one quite a bit. It has a removable engine cover. This one's kind of loose, which is a little surprising. Normally these fit really tight. So tight, in fact, that when I first got this, I didn't even know it was removable. Or when I first got the yellow one, I didn't even realize it was removable. And it was quite a surprise when I discovered that. So that's pretty cool. But this one's really loose. But it's a very cool model. Does have lens headlights that look pretty good for a Tarmac Works Global64. Blue interior, not a lot of detail going on in that interior. If there's a weakness to this model, it's gonna be that. That blue interior looks pretty plasticky in there. But otherwise, it's not bad. The interior on the yellow one was black, so you really don't notice the interior as much. This blue interior really stands out, so it becomes a little bit more of a weak point in the vehicle. But there is a little two-tone element here. There's some black in the middle of the dashboard, and then if we can see in there, the steering wheel is actually black. So that is kind of nice, but the plastic does look a little cheap on this one. So I think the yellow one is actually a little bit of a better release overall. Although I like the white color of the car. White and black looks really good to me. With the blue trim, that looks really nice. But just the interior is a little bit slightly disappointing on that. To me, anyways. Next up, something I actually found in store. From Matchbox, I found this is 2022 Mix 2 of moving parts, and this is the first time I have seen moving parts releases in store in probably like a year and a half. And I found these in a Fry's, which is a Kroger affiliate. So I had been wondering where Matchbox was even going to sell moving parts, because they're putting more energy into this line this year. For 2022, they're actually doing more releases than they had last year, and they do seem to have kind of stepped it up. The releases seem to be better, because early on a couple years ago, the releases in this line, some of them were truly awful. And I have always found Matchbox moving parts releases pretty hit and miss. But these, for what they are, they're actually looking pretty good. So this was the 1988 Chevy Monte Carlo LS in gold, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, it has opening doors. The interior on these is pretty bad in reality, but they didn't do too terrible of a job on these doors. Some of them have plastic doors that look really awful, but this one's not too bad. The door gaps are pretty big, but not as bad as they are on some of them. So, I don't know. It's pretty cool. So you have detail in the front, detail in the back, painted. And, of course, it's a Matchbox, so it's going to roll very well. And the wheels look a little bit oversized, but that kind of works on this car. So this is not a bad looking release, for what it is. It's not obviously not a high end diecast release, but so from the same series, 2020 BMW M4 Cabriolet, another casting that I think is actually pretty cool, and looks pretty nice. And they had done this one last year in this very nice blue color with a white interior. And then now we get it in white with kind of a burgundy interior and opening doors. It's a pretty wide door gap there, which is not ideal. But I don't know. I like this release. I think it's pretty cool. Or this casting, I should say. For a Matchbox interior, the steering wheel is obviously not the best thing in the world, although for a Matchbox it's relatively good. But it looks good in white. I think I like this one a little bit better, the purplish blue, the blue one, but still, it's cool. And next, the casting that I have never seen before, the 2016 Corvette Stingray, in a pretty nice red color with an opening hood. And this is actually a very nice color. And the forward opening hood is pretty cool. Some nice painted engine detail in there. The Corvette logo on the engine block, and painted headlights. Giant gap there in the front, but that's what you get with these Matchbox opening parts. Taillights look pretty good for a Tampo printed taillight, and overall this is not a bad looking model. It's got the Hot Wheels asynchronous or asymmetric wheel sizes, so little wheel in the front, big wheel in the back. And yeah, other than this gap right here, it's not bad. So engine's actually pretty cool looking for a Matchbox. Cool. Hood, yeah, the hood's a little flaky on that one. Then this one's a really cool one, 1978 Subaru Brat in white. They had put this out previously, but I never found it. I don't remember what color it was in. But it came out during the period where I never saw these in a store. And it's just a interesting car. Something you're not going to see a lot of brands put out. But here you get side tampos and rear tampos, so there's no front tampos, which is a little bit unfortunate. But it does have an opening engine or opening hood. Looks like is that a spare tire in there? See this? Interesting. Or is that the air cleaner for the... I think that's a spare tire, isn't it? I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, not a bad release. It's pretty cool. The seats in the back, which is cool. So it's such an interesting vehicle. Very nice. So we have one more of these. This is the 1932 Ford pickup, and looks to be a blue color. And I like this casting quite a bit. It's pretty good Tampo print on the front for the grille and the headlights, and you get detail on the back. Actually looks pretty nice as well. And then of course the opening doors. And we're not going to open that side. These are a little tricky to get these open once you close them. So yeah, I like, like I said, I like this casting. There have been a couple other versions of it. This one was another moving parts release in a metallic black, which is cool. I think I like this blue one better. It's really nice. And then there was this gold one. This was a super fast release. So this one actually has rubber tires, but the same grille detail and rear detail. Although this one picked up the super fast logo on the tailgate. Yeah, cool. All right, so back to some super premium diecast now. From Inno64. The Acura NSX R, and this was another local find that I was very happy to find. It comes with extra wheels, so looks like a 6-spoke wheel with red trim around that. That would probably look pretty cool on there. But these white wheels are kind of the stock wheel for this car, I think. So I believe this is a little bit of an older Inno64 release. I don't know when this came out. Let's see if we look at the package. Does it give us any kind of date? Does not appear to, but so this one has headlights here, which is interesting. So I also have the Atomica Limited Vintage, which these are obviously not the same car. I thought they were going to be more similar, but they're actually quite a bit different. I guess this is the stock NSX and this is the NSXR. So let's just focus on this one. So the wheels do kind of turn on this, but this is not going to roll. That is for sure. It's a pretty fantastic looking taillight detail though. That looks really good. You have a brake light in the rear wing. You can see the engine in detail in there as well. That's pretty cool. And then reflective surface in the mirrors, and if you can see down inside there, there is some detail in the dash. You can see it from here a little bit as well. Actually, there's quite a bit of interior detail in there. It's always so hard to see inside these things, especially when the camera's not really cooperating with you, as it seems to be today. But yeah. So it's an Inno64, so it's metal body. It'll have a plastic base. They are doing metal bases on all of their new releases, but this is, since this is an older casting, it has a plastic base. It does have rubber tires. The wheels do appear to have brake discs in there, but they don't seem to have calipers that I can see. Although maybe there are calipers in there. I don't know. It's hard to see through those wheels. That's a little detail that I don't, again, I don't think it's really all that important. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think the in this one in this instance, I think the TLV I actually like a little bit better. It's the more stock street version of the NSX, and I think it resonates a little bit better with me. And of course, it has an opening. This opens, and then the engine cover opens as well. But I need a tool to open that, which I don't have available at the moment. So yeah, pretty cool. But I think this one's the winner in this little comparison. Next up, from Acura, we have a Audi A6 in blue. This is going to be the road car version, or the street car version of this. I do have another one of these, but it is in a police livery. And so this is a metallic blue, and it looks like this probably has an opening hood. It does. Opening hood. I can get it to open. It doesn't open really wide. And it also has opening doors. Some pretty decent detail on the inside of the door. That's kind of nice. And black interior. So you can't see a whole lot in there again. But yeah. So Acura is it's a brand. It would be a competitor to Mini GT, although I hesitate to say it is, of the same, in the same category as Mini GT, because they do a very different thing, since they do opening parts and what have you. Actually, Acura is much more similar to Tiny HK than it is to Mini GT. So it's a metal body and it's plastic base. It does have rubber tires. It will roll. They do not have suspension, although this one almost feels like it has suspension, but it doesn't. It's just the axles bending. Camera is not cooperating today. Do have lensed headlights, and pretty nice detail on the grille area, which looks pretty good. And they also have lensed taillights. So as I mentioned, I have this one in police livery as well, which looks pretty cool. This is Scotland Police. Which is very nice. So it's cool. It's a nice example of a premium diecast car. It's definitely not what I would consider super premium, but I do like Acura. It's a fun brand to collect. And then from Auto World, we have the 2019 Chevy Camaro ZL1 in white, Summit White. Another casting that I think Auto World is putting out too many different versions of. This is, again, premium release 4. And again, I had bought a case, so I probably wouldn't pick this car up in the store. If I found it, I would probably leave it. Even though it is a nice casting, I do like it. I already have several versions of it. And this white one is not really one of distinction. Painted headlights in there, painted taillights, it's a cool release, but yeah, I don't know. One I could have easily skipped. But I got it, so I opened it, because that's what I do. Then from Schuco, we have the Land Rover Defender in silver. I was very happy to find this one, because I collect various Land Rovers, and especially this Schuco Land Rover Defender 90 casting. And the camera is just not going to focus today. So yeah, this looks very nice with the silver and black roof, blacked out wheels, black base, and the typical Schuco detail on the front and the rear. It's just painted details on the back of this. You do get a rubber spare tire, and of course rubber tires overall. And it's a Schuco, so it is going to roll. And they always roll pretty nicely. This one's a little squeaky, but it does roll pretty nicely. Red interior. Not really going to be able to see much inside the interior, but yeah, it's a cool release. It's going to be a great addition to the collection of Land Rovers. Very happy to have that. Then from in English, the only thing on this box is Democratic brand and then ages 3+. Everything else on here is in Chinese, which I I just found this box amusing. I don't know why they would say Democratic brand there. Maybe if somebody can read that, what does that say? Anyway, this is a Xcartoys. This Jeep. So Xcartoys is another brand kind of similar to Tiny HK or Aerocar. It's primarily sold in China. It's pretty rare to find in the U.S., so I was happy to actually find this locally. It is predominantly a toy brand. I would consider it premium diecast, but it is definitely coming from the toy side more than the scale model side of collecting. So there's very little detail on the base. It has plastic wheels and tires, it's plastic base, metal body. This particular one does not have any opening parts or anything. It is a nice metallic green. It does have lensed headlights, but painted details for the tail lights, and a little gumdrop light on the top there. So pretty cool. I do have another one of these already. This is in I believe this was Beijing Police. I could be wrong about that, but so it's another police variation of the vehicle, but it is pretty cool. I like to collect these international police vehicles, and this one is technically an international police vehicle too, though I can't really say I know what it is specifically. But oops, as I drop it. But yeah, it's cool. Again, these have suspension, and they roll very well, just like a Tiny. These brands are very similar in a lot of ways. So very cool. All right, now we have another premium, actually true premium diecast. This is from Kyosho. If the camera would focus. The Lotus Evora GTC. So this was originally sold as a blind box. from Kyosho, so it would come, you know, in a cardboard box where you couldn't see the model, and the cases of those that they would put out would have 3 different variations in them, and you wouldn't know which car you got, or which color, or really anything about it at the time that you purchased it in the store. And then you would take it home and open it up and see if you were happy or disappointed with your acquisition. It seems like a fun thing. And I believe these models were not particularly expensive. They were sold in Japan, obviously. And if you were able to buy them in Japan, I don't think they were very expensive. But now, 20 years later, they have become quite collectible, and Kyosho is, you know, a very revered brand in the diecast world. They don't put a huge amount of focus now on 1/64 scale diecast. They do still put out 1/64 scale, but they seem to have their attention mostly focused on other things. In particular, they seem to be putting a lot of attention on RC cars. And they do some pretty cool RC car models, where they actually try to do fairly accurate bodies for the RC cars, and they have a little tiny car called the Mini Z that actually looks pretty cool. But this looks like a very nice model. So the Evora GTC. No other real information on the bottom. So this does have rubber tires, lens headlights. It's metal body. It does have a plastic base and lens taillights. This is a cool car. I really like this one. I like the British flag on the end plates of the wing. And so this one should roll. Kyosho's typically do, and it does. Actually, it rolls really smooth. That actually rolls really nice. It's not going to be super fast, but it rolls very, very smooth, very nice. So, love this. Excellent model. I am definitely a fan of Kyosho. Oh, as I kick the camera. That's not good. And from Greenlight, Hot Pursuit Series 39, we have the 2001 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. This is the test and evaluation vehicle. So this is the demonstrator model that if you were a police, you're running, doing acquisitions for the police force and trying to choose your car, this is the thing that you would test out to decide if it's going to work for you or not. So it's a nice gloss black. This particular model has painted headlights and painted taillights, and a gray interior with a cool, what do you call this, Christmas tree light bar or something. And yeah, so the Crown Vic's, always a popular casting with Greenlight. This is probably, for me anyways, not the most interesting livery for it, because it doesn't reproduce an actual police livery. It's just these demonstrator vehicles, but it's still cool. And let's see, does this one roll? This rolls pretty well, and it doesn't even seem to really have any quality issues on it. I could nitpick the paint, I suppose, but the windows are actually clear, so that's a win. Tires all look reasonably good. Sorry, it's all blurry, isn't it? I was looking past the camera, and the camera is not autofocusing today at all. All right, cool. All right, so there's only 2 more, but I'm going to keep going here. Bentley Continental GT V8 from Majorette. This is a limited edition, so it was a 6-car set here that you could get, and I think kind of have this shiny metallic paint that was special to these editions. And so the Majorette Bentley gets opening doors, and is actually a left-hand drive car. But this is an interesting looking paint color. It's metallic, but it's not glossy. It's like a satin. I wouldn't even say it's satin. It's just kind of a weird. It's got a weird finish to it, and I mean, maybe it's just the way it's applied, but the ridges and stuff. I mean, it's got some tonal variation in the paint that's pretty cool. This is a very, very interesting paint job. Definitely more interesting than I was expecting to see from Majorette. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So this one actually claims to be 1/64 scale. Sometimes Majorette is truthful in that, and sometimes they're not. But it has suspension, and of course Majorettes always roll. So if we compare it to the Mini GT Bentley, does it seem 1/64 scale? Majorette's actually a little bit smaller, but it's possible that this is a newer version of the car, so it may have gotten bigger. The car itself may have just gotten bigger. So it's not far off of 1/64 scale, if at all. So maybe they were truthful, maybe not. I don't really know. All right, one more. 90210 TV show I never watched, don't care about at all, but I thought this was a really cool looking release of this 1988 Jeep Cherokee Limited in a pretty cool gray and gold. And so we will get this out of the package and toss the packaging immediately, since we don't really care about the Hollywood tie-in for this particular vehicle. And this is a very nice finish. It's very metallic, has very big metal flake in it. And the gold wheels look really good. Actually, this looks really good. This is definitely one of the better versions of this casting that I've seen. Has clean windows. That's good. Very happy to see that. California license plate. Painted details for the taillights and the headlights. Yeah. This is a winner. I think this may be my favorite version of this casting so far. This looks really good. It's great casting. I've definitely been collecting this one, and I think we have a new king for this. It's fantastic. So, thank you for watching.